Hi guys, welcome back to another Epy-Norts-O-Z video, and today we're back in Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, and I want to see the new content. We were just on the edge of seeing the new content. Like last time we saw the jump circle, and Narrator was pretty fuming at not new content. So I wonder if the narrators, I don't know, got something cooked up for us. Maybe not, maybe so. I don't know. Well, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a...
Yeah, this is definitely not the same office. See, that's our office. And this ain't it. We'll open every door. Gosh, why they gotta make all the words so small in this game? Can't read that.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
I don't know, narrator. Alright, narrator. Fine, we'll go in your vent. Might as well have a wee look. Your average vent. Oh, we're dead. We died. We have just died in a vent in the Stanley Parable. That's just great. That's just great. I love that.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be.
Yeah.
So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it.
All right.
Just our little secret. Take a look.
I'd be honored. Let's see if we can make it. Oh. Okay. Ooh.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Ah. Alright, there's something.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Definitely. Ah. Interesting. 2013, when the Stanley Parable was released. Don't forget the Stanley Parable. Oh, that's the ending. Oh, cool. Okay. Being in the audience. Good times and nice screenshots. Moments throughout the story here. You have the Stanley Parable on a very browsing. Very nice. A trip down memory lane. The $1 bill, of course. A TV. Unachievable. Achievement. Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. Yeah. Well, of course. All the nominations. Yeah, obviously they got in the news. Well, that's us dead, I suppose. Feels fruit. Bench? Can I go on the bench? Okay.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing.
Oh.
It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Oh. So sad, bro. Me in the maintenance zone, bro. Won't let us in there. Okay. Person of the year. 4 incredible pictures. Oh.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com.
Ooh.
The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Right, I get where you're going with this, the narrator man.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
Yes, yeah. Okay, we're going in the maintenance room. What are you hiding down here?
Hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Oh.
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years.
Oh.
I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Perhaps you don't want to see these.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Yeah, I wonder, bro. I reckon they've put some hilarity in this game. It's a completely serious game right here.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I?
I don't know, man.
You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly,
I don't know what preachy means, bro.
This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did.
But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
What's this one
What's
say?
this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Bam.
A skip button?
Bruh.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto.
I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Skip person. Have a
And
switch.
here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No
Alrighty.
more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming...
Okay, yep.
Oh, you're back, you see? You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations.
of course,
Not
yes,
that, of course,
Narrator.
you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise.
Okay, right. You rambling.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. No, Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here?
Where's the door, bro?
Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want. Stanley! Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone.
Why?
I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea.
You have...
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
Oh.
Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing.
Yeah.
Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking?
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year?
How about a decade? You there, Mr. No? You finally died, Mr. Seems like that's it as well. Right, what? The alarm's going. Well, I'm not listening to this. Annoying
But
alarm.
they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough.
Okay.
They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the
Please help. Okay. Narrator, just you dead, right? Guy, it's probably been centuries at this point.
The end is never the end, is never the
Oh.
end, is
Oh,
never the
he's
end, is never the end, is never the end, is never
lost
the
it.
end, is never the end, is never the
He
end,
is
is never
fully
the
lost.
end, is never
The narrator's fully lost it. Not the memory lane that everyone was hoping for. Let's see, bro. Okay. But the endless abyss is starting to creep in. Quick, let me go. Get me out. Oh. The button's broken. Pretty empty out here. Not walking, eh? That does sound like the correct decision to make, guys. Oh. Oh, it looks like I died. Narrator?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. New content. Well, cannot take the plug out.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Really? Really don't want to see this elevator tour again, bro. Last time was not very fun. Better be some very, very new, interesting content, I have to say. Ah yes, skip the rings around the roses. Up and away.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about
Okay.
how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original
Okay.
Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this
suppose
ultra
that's-
deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time
Oh.
ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Whoa. What? The end
Yes,
is never
you see,
the
isn't this
end
far
of
superior to a
game.
measly re-release with a few minor
427?
additions?
That's
Think
a
of all the
room.
new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
My goodness. Right. Never knew I needed a new mug. Wow. Investor Showcase. Welcome, Investor Showcase. That's brand new.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented.
Right.
It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Photo of a pink. Wow. This looks pretty innovative. There's a lot of two as well. They're back. 2 doors. Go. Always been two. Two. That's second. 2 ferns. No way. That was That was my favorite part. Love that ending.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Fair enough. New features. I'm here. I'm ready. I see this new feature galore right here. Wow.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Wow, this is certainly something. Wow, this sure is something, yeah. Okay, well, the button that says the name, the player that is playing the game. Oh my gosh. Gotta see this. Gotta hear the Epy-Norts-O-Z.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, I must press it.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name
right.
Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim. Sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust.
Okay, Jim.
Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now?
I'm Jim now.
If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Wow.
Yes, you see,
What a thrill,
what a rush.
Jim.
That was you.
My name is now
The
Jim.
button described you. Do it again, do it again.
Oh.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Wow. Amazing stuff. Ever, like ever. Amazing Jimming. Jimming? Jimmering?
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
There's a button that says Jim. The poster's changed. How interesting. Enjoy the new features.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah. Easy. Okay, so settings will change. Ooh. Infinite? Ooh. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Lovely.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Of course. There's merch? Quick, someone scream. Someone get that QR code. Yeah. Alright, so someone looked at it Was there merch? Was there interesting lore? Was there backstory? Comment it in the comments if you so felt so. I'll give a nice straight one there. A bit of head on there. Closer so that your phone can really recognize that QR code there. Yep. Alright. Right. Let's go and see. I really do want to see that hole. Jumpster there as well. We could out some more jumping. No, I must see the hole. New hole. Oh. Okay. Time depth. Distant past. Space time. Distant future. Like infinite time space. Okay. Thing rim. Surrounding area. Depth. And oh. Got the whole entrance and infinity. Art. Occasional. Got some science. Falling bits. With some more stuff. Okay. And it just keeps going. It's right here. Of course, you can read it up there very easy. The depths. Oh.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right.
Oh.
Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Whoa.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then,
Wow.
since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Gee. I wanna fall a bit more.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Right? Like falling down the
Okay,
hole.
Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole.
What do
Is
you
it a
mean?
very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity.
Oh, no.
From
No,
one
no,
perspective,
no,
the
no.
infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling.
Oh.
What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Is the hole so epic? Eating. Someone's just been like chain smoking down in infinity. Every pause button, the Roman numeral 2. Just the trying to copyright me.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
I want to do my
Oh,
falling.
for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The
Yeah.
problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there, goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite.
Yes.
Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime.
Nah.
Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point.
Wow.
It's more of a concavity, or even a very aggressive divot.
How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Oh.
Is the, teleport button not working? You sure?
No.
Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again.
Please, it's not working.
Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley.
What?
You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could
Narrator.
ever have asked for. It's
Very
a
sorry.
win for everyone.
No,
You get to
no.
be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else.
No, I'm sorry,
Take
Narrator.
care, Stanley.
Take me
I
back.
hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of
No. The hole. Can't leave me here. Can't leave me here. He left me here. Oh. What was that sound? Is that you? Okay, something's happening. A hole. Hole is... Help. Help. Someone help me. The hole's getting bigger. Hole is growing in length. I'm descending. I'm being trapped. Help! No! I'm sorry, Narrator. Come back. I miss you. It was my fault. I shouldn't have stayed in the hole. I should have just walked away. My goodness, Narrator. I'm so sorry. Oh? Oh! That... Wow, what a perspective. That one's pretty good too. I like this perspective. I like this one the most, but it's pretty good too. We'll go with this one. We'll stick with this one. It's your perception. Oh. Okay, the music just keeps going. Oh. I like this one. Change health. Oh. Oh. He's up. These are just unbelievably epic now.
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley!
Oh.
Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed
No.
off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You
Narrator.
don't want to miss a single moment.
I
So
was in-
how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole?
Oh,
From the looks of things,
Narrator.
you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them.
Narrator.
Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
Damn it. Narrator! I hate that guy. Yeah, thank gosh. Step 3. I'm not touching the hole anymore. Learn my lesson.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Right, so we went a bucket. Okay. New relapse. Astonishingly reassurance.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well,
Oh,
I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind
really?
and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest,
give it to me.
it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Oh,
Can you feel it?
damn.
The glow of comfort, even
Wow.
in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well?
Oh, thanks.
I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person.
Wow.
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All
Great
this
thing.
and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Wow. This bucket, really something. Free achievement. Pull the lever. Receive your new achievement. No more.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm
Yeah.
developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Okay, well that's good at least. So it's coming soon. It's coming soon. Now, what we gotta look at? Collectible now, was it? Well, it does sound fun.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Collectible, is it? Can you find them? Collect them all.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I
Wow.
don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Wow. Really is so. One out of 6. Nice. Well, I think that's...
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle?
Oh.
Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Ow. Oh, no jumps. Oh. The champion right up here. Everything. Let me in. Do I have to do settings for a check? Okay guys, I did it. I probably ruined every of my settings. Now let me in. That's what I thought.
Aha! I can see you've gotten the Settings World Champion achievement. Well done. You've experienced every setting, traveled to all corners of the settings menu. There's nothing you haven't seen. So, just for you, in the Stanley Parable 2, I'm including an entirely new setting, something called bumpscosity. What exactly is bumpscosity? Well, I haven't quite figured that part out yet,
Alright.
but I just know that you'll be able to adjust it on some sort of slider, and that it'll be available from the settings menu. We'll sort the rest of the
Alright,
details out
sounds
later.
good.
I hope you're looking forward to trying out every level of bumpscosity in the Stanley Parable 2.
Of course, I want to test out bumpscosity. You are the champion of settings. All the sliders to all the possible numbers. Please enjoy this room. This is your room. It is made just for you. Wow. Did it. Ruined all the settings. Made things too quiet. Some things too loud. Alright, well, where's the exit? Leave. Don't want to be trapped here. So far.
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
I am. I've seen it all. Got my reassurance bucket right here.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single
Yes,
coherent
of course.
video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Alright.
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is.
Of course.
I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Wow. I mean...
I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on.
I mean,
Let me
it's
do a
got
different
balloons.
arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go.
Alright.
Version 2.
Wow.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot
Jumping
of gags.
on the hole.
And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I
Oh,
wanted
this is pretty
fans
good.
to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With
Of course.
respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game.
Of
Could
course.
it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A
Oh.
title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Oh. Huh? Oh. Ooh, this is perfect. Now this is a menu screen. Just went from Ultra Deluxe to 2, got upgraded. Wow. I enjoy this tile screen. This is good tile screen. Right, well, if these really are tasteful, I guess.
Stanley worked for a company in a
Ooh,
big
the
building where he
balloons.
was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room. Something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call
There's
a meeting,
balloons.
or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete
Ow.
isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked,
Go.
frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Him.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
I'm just... don't know why I'm turning these monitors on off on. Let's go bucket. Gonna go beat the game bucket. Going on an adventure.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Oh. Okay, fine. Me and bucket, we're good. We're good guys.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's
My
as
goodness.
clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the
No,
bucket.
it's my bucket.
I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here.
Oh.
It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket.
Never.
I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong.
Yeah.
This is your bucket. This is your companion
You're
and
right.
lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no.
No.
We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet
My
has sunk
goodness.
that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket?
You can't have my
Stanley,
bucket.
I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting
What?
friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same
What?
sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner?
This is
Well,
my
I'd
bucket.
never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments.
How dare you, broom
Expand on the
closet.
wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared
Yes.
together.
We've
Go
walked.
through each of them point by point.
We've
Share your journal
told,
entries detailing the
reassured.
rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have
This bucket is
changed
an
and
icon.
evolved over the years.
We're
Let
a-
him have it.
We're a package and broom. You're just nothing. Closet, you can't have my bucket. My bucket. Right, broom closet.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets
This is
in the natural
property
order
of
of
Stanley
things.
right here.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see,
Oh.
I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket.
Wow.
That way, if you're coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walk
Oh.
upstairs to the boss's office.
We're walking downstairs? You're walking downstairs. Yo.
Found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done.
Well, that's
you
a
can't
reward
buy
enough.
that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each
Wow.
and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Really something. Okay, into the...
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket.
No, no, no.
Now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Bucket, come on.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
It's my bucket.
Stanley, find me.
Gosh,
He
why
had to
can't you
find
give
the bucket.
directions?
He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then
Come on.
suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
No. How did I misplace my bucket?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Okay.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Oh.
Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of
Goodness.
course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place.
Goodness.
How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter.
Yes.
But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Okay. That's not right. That's what happens when you misplace your bucket, guys.
All of
A
his
real
co-workers
bucket.
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Be in my bucket. Not going
Stanley
that
clutched
way
the
and
bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
nope.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Like bucket.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I sure didn't.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Bucket.
Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Of course.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
The dark room. Okay.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the
I'm
joke?
sorry.
It's funny, Stanley.
I'm sorry,
a
bro.
talking bucket.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did
Sorry?
I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's
Oh.
take a look.
The bucket.
What is comedic timing?
Okay.
What is comedic timing? How does
Ooh.
it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies?
no.
And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper.
Oh.
If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of
Okay.
no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good
Ooh.
comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a
Okay.
brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete,
Okay.
it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the
Alright.
joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny
Dunny
with the
with the
funny,"
funny.
now.
I'm Dunny with the funny. Wow.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Okay.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery.
Yeah,
Come
that
along,
sounds good.
let's head back.
Alrighty. Sounds very good. Very good indeed.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure.
Sure wouldn't.
The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Of course, of course. Where's my buckets? Go. Off and away. Okay. Now I go, me and my bucket. Non-talking.
Here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Of course, of course.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Oh.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land, or not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake.
Yeah.
I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Oh.
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale
Maybe.
with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No.
Yeah, that was
Getting
kind of
away
funny.
from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Lyrium. Well, that was certainly an ending. Grab a
All of
bucket.
his co-workers were gone.
I'm gonna
What
jump
could it
out the
mean?
window.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed it.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
What?
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear. We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self.
Oh,
The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed,
Huh?
desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the
What?
bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have
Huh?
taken to curb the madness and the decay,
The
if
bucket?
only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out
Bucket.
in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps, if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket?
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet
Huh?
I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like...
Oh, what?
My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
I had no idea. The bucket and Stanley are ages of mass power.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
It's
decided to go to the meeting room.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
You know what? We're gonna do it.
Stanley
We're
clutched
gonna-
the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Gonna blow up the facility. We're gonna use the mind control facility for ourselves. Me and my bucket. Additional things. Appeared across the week. There are many questions.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Another miniature Stanley figurine. This,
Nice.
you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I
Stanlerines?
think I like that. Another Stanlerine under
Oh.
your belt.
Outstanding. Philosophy. Why? Music. In the elevator.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket.
Yes.
Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos.
Okay.
It would be with him, always. The bucket would. And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Yes.
Was the bucket guiding him?
Of course.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Bucket. The bucket showed us. Must be that. Like the video for more bucket love, and subscribe for more bucket love too, because bucket is life. Possibly
The
bucket is
elevator
life.
raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket.
Yes.
Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right.
Thanks,
The
bucket.
bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Oh, thanks, bucket. The legendary bucket.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would
Oh, I
both
can't
meet
do
a
that.
violent death.
Bucket has to live, can't die. Come on, bucket. We'll
But
just.
of course, Stanley and the bucket thought better of it and realized they simply had too much to live for.
Especially the bucket. Go forward.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Wow.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
That's bucket. What could it be? Could it be?
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the
Wow.
office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never!
Oh.
He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
All right. In the bucket. We are.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad
That's not
or
bad.
content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life.
Ooh, I wouldn't
For
be so
he
sure
and
about
the
that.
bucket would dismantle the controls for good.
Ooh.
Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. the control buttons became active again.
Whoa.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world.
Silly bird gang.
The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions.
Wow.
Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards
is a
this
silly bird.
incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best.
Yeah.
And Stanley was happy.
Look at this. Oh, penguins. Oh, that's a cute. Oh, the flamingos again.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Oh.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious
What you see,
fact.
bucket?
He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Cool.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it.
Do we?
This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket.
Okay.
Please, step in here for a moment.
Well, we can just go there. It's not that much harm, is it?
Now then, I'm going
Okay.
to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket.
Okay.
Okay, let's begin.
Oh.
Item 1. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Nice.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed
Oh.
recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Damn it.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Oh.
Incorrect. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Yeah?
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
Be like it like.
Is this a bucket?
Yeah?
Correct. This is a bucket.
Hmm. No.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Trick question. Both. gotcha.
Ooh. You did get me.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost
Okay.
all sense of perspective.
Nothing
What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
Perhaps.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
Oh.
Okay, here we go.
Huh?
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket.
My
Oh
goodness.
my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue. But it
Lovely.
doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what. I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you
Always
run into
has been.
anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Ow. Something. Oh, go, go, go.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Speed running with the bucket. We make it in time.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Faster, faster, faster.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
8, 4, 5.
Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Go on, go on, go on. Go bucket speed running. Go, 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 go. No time to stop. No time to stop. Don't look back. Pull ahead.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Sure do.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to them. But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall.
Nice
Now,
bucket.
what to do next, Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here.
Huh.
So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis. But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it
Ow.
really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed. as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was inconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending, but it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Suppose we waited out, I guess.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again. "Where are we going today?" the bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
Aw.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to
Oh,
his...
ain't that
This
nice?
was not.
Yeah.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Nope. We're going down.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Oh,
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content.
Oh, I
We're
know
the
that.
ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet.
Well, yeah.
Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this
Yeah.
bucket that they've never seen before.
I
Yes, I
like the
know I'm the
bucket.
one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it. Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Oh, nice. Bum 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 bum. Bum da dum.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable
Oh.
is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now
Yeah,
as it was back
that's it.
then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Oh. Can't do it.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket.
Oh.
That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
No.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
Turn it off.
Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket.
No.
And then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Won't let you do it.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters?
Well,
Turn
you
it off.
see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this.
I'm not giving you the bucket.
Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get
No.
back to the classic Stanley Parable characters
I'll never
like
give
the
you.
Adventure Line or
You'll
the Bucket
never have the
Destroyer
bucket.
until you crush that damn bucket.
Never.
Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley.
No.
Give the fans what they
No, I
want.
want the
Hurry
bucket.
and...
Oh, well. Right.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
No. Bucket life. Oh, that's the end. Never give you my bucket. Can't have it. Bucket is mine and mine.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
Hey.
Stepping into his manager's...
Yeah. Get out of here, bucket. Trying to escape. Yep. Emergency exit. Yeah, how? Great on every adventure. You are now leaving the office. No longer. We're out of here. Okay, see you at the top of the stairs, guys. Okay, we've made it. It's time to escape, guys. Keep walking forward. I see. Going. Oh. There we go, bucket. Get up here now. Gonna be okay, bucket, bro. We'll miss you, bucket. But only one of us can get out of here. I'm sorry, bucket. Goodbye. We'll see each other soon. There goes the bucket. Bucket was ejected.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
You know, guys, with that one, I think we'll end it there. Because the bucket is officially gone. So oops. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah. See you in the next one, guys. That might be the end, possibly. I don't know how this game works. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe yes. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and goodbye, ta-ta. Hope you enjoy. Subscribe, like, comment down below. All your all the things, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.